Let's go Broncos! The Denver Broncos' playoff hopes are heating up as the team prepares for a pivotal game against the Cleveland Browns. If you think the Broncos will win this game, hit that like button hard. And if possible, write something like this: Go Broncos! Let's beat the Browns! With an 8-year playoff drought looming over us, this year finally feels like the moment we've been waiting for. The stars are aligning for a serious postseason run, and the latest developments around the league are working in our favor. Let's break it down and see why this team is primed for a shot at playoff glory. First, the good news for the Broncos isn't just about our performance, but about what's happening around the league. The Cincinnati Bengals, a team many consider the most talented contender on our heels, have all but eliminated themselves from the race. Coming off a crushing loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, their 4-8 record leaves them with a nearly impossible path to the playoffs. Even if they were to win, their tough schedule makes it unlikely they'll be able to close the gap. This is a huge opportunity for the Broncos as we focus on controlling our destiny. The picture becomes even clearer when you look at our remaining 5 games. Analyst Andrew Mason put it perfectly. If the Broncos go 3-2, with one of those wins against the Indianapolis Colts, we're all but guaranteed a playoff spot. That's not even factoring in teams like the Miami Dolphins, who would need to win every remaining game to stay ahead of us. A scenario that seems absurd given their struggles in cold weather and their remaining matchups against tough teams like the Texans and Browns. Let's dive even deeper into why this Denver Broncos team feels different, why there's a palpable sense of belief that this isn't just a playoff team but one that can be a genuine contender. The foundation of this optimism starts with the leadership of Sean Payton. His arrival has been a game-changer, not just in terms of strategy, but in how this team approaches preparation, execution, and mentality. Think back to how this team operated under Nathaniel Hackett. Training camps were loose, filled with distractions like snow cone trucks and shooting basketball hoops instead of putting in the work necessary to build a resilient football team. Fast forward to Sean Payton's era, and the shift is stark. His training camp was a grind. Players were pushed physically and mentally, which has paid off in spades during the season. You can see it in how the team stays strong late in games, how they avoid the injury bug, and how they've outlasted opponents who seem to fall apart under pressure. This preparation has also created opportunities for individual players to shine. We already talked about Pat Surtain's chance to snag Defensive Player of the Year, but let's not forget the ripple effects across the roster. Payton's system has unlocked the best version of Russell Wilson we've seen in years. His efficiency, decision-making, and ability to make plays in clutch moments have been critical to this team's resurgence. Combine that with emerging stars and consistent veterans, and you have a team peaking at the right time.
Even the Broncos' approach to adversity has been impressive. Injuries are a reality in the NFL, and while we've largely dodged significant ones, we've had to adjust. Losing Alex Singleton for the season could have been a devastating blow to the defense, but the depth and preparation of this roster have mitigated the impact. Riley Moss being held out for precautionary reasons is another example of the smart, long-term thinking that has defined this season. The result? A team that's built to sustain success over a grueling NFL campaign. When you stack the Broncos against the competition, the difference is clear. Look at the Miami Dolphins, a team often hyped for their explosive offense. Their struggles in cold weather, combined with a tough remaining schedule, make it hard to see them as a serious contender. They've shown they're vulnerable when forced out of their comfort zone, something the Broncos are uniquely equipped to exploit if the opportunity arises. Meanwhile, the Chargers are clinging to playoff hopes but lack the depth and health to pose a real threat. Ladd McConkey has been their lone consistent weapon, but with his recent knee injury and mounting wear and tear, their offense feels like it's on borrowed time. But let's not just focus on what's happening outside of Denver. The Broncos themselves have a roadmap to success that feels attainable. Starting with tomorrow night's game against the Browns, this team has a chance to make a statement. Winning that game not only boosts their playoff chances, but also sets the tone for the final stretch. After the bye, we face the Colts, a must-win game that could all but solidify our playoff spot. The beauty of the situation is that it's not just about sneaking into the playoffs. This team is positioned to compete for the 6th seed, which comes with more favorable matchups and a greater chance to make noise in January. One thing that stands out is how the Broncos have handled the mental side of the game. It's easy to get caught up in scoreboard watching and rooting for other teams to lose, but this group has stayed focused on what they can control. Fans might be biting their nails and hoping for losses from teams like the Steelers or Dolphins, but the players seem locked in on their own path. That focus is a testament to Payton's leadership and the culture he's instilled. Looking ahead, the potential for multiple award winners in Denver adds to the excitement. Imagine a season where the Broncos not only break their playoff drought, but also bring home individual accolades like Defensive Player of the Year for Pat Certain or Coach of the Year for Sean Payton. These achievements reflect not just individual excellence, but the collective progress of a team that has been overlooked for far too long. As we wrap up this deep dive, it's impossible not to feel the buzz around this team. The combination of favorable scheduling, strong performances, and smart coaching has created a perfect storm for a playoff run. This is a team that's not just content with making the postseason, they want to be a team that no one wants to face. The Broncos have all the tools to be dangerous in January, and it's hard not to get excited about what's ahead. Now, I want to hear from you, Broncos country. Are you as confident as I am about this team's chances? What do you think about Sean Payton's impact, Pat Certain's potential, and the playoff picture as a whole? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. Remember to check back for more updates as the Broncos continue their push for the playoffs. It's going to be a thrilling ride. Don't miss a second of it. What's truly exciting is the Broncos' strategic advantage down the stretch. Our bye week comes at the perfect time, giving us extra rest and preparation for critical games. For example, the extra 10 days before facing the Bengals could prove invaluable, while some matchups, like playing the Chargers just days after our bye, negate some of the usual advantages of rest. The overall schedule is working in our favor. This team has a clear path to success, and Sean Payton's meticulous preparation is a big part of why. Speaking of preparation, let's talk about injuries. If you've been following football this season, you've seen how injuries have ravaged teams across the league. Key players being carted off the field has become a weekly sight, but not for the Broncos. Sean Payton's hard-nosed approach in training camp, marked by intense physical preparation, has left this team healthier than most. Aside from losing Alex Singleton to a season-ending ACL injury, we're in great shape. Compare that to teams like the Detroit Lions, whose defense has been decimated by injuries, and it's clear how well Payton has positioned this team. And it's not just about staying healthy, it's about excelling on the field. Pat Certain has been playing at an elite level, and there's serious buzz around his candidacy for Defensive Player of the Year. With matchups against top-tier receivers like Jamar Chase and Hollywood Brown coming up, he has a chance to further solidify his case. Add in the possibility of Sean Payton winning Coach of the Year after leading a team many considered the worst in the league back to relevance, and the Broncos have a lot more to celebrate than just playoff potential. The performance of other teams also highlights how well the Broncos are doing. Take the Los Angeles Chargers, for instance. They're fighting for the same playoff spots as us, but have major vulnerabilities. Their offense heavily relies on Lad McConey, who is battling injuries and appears to be wearing down. Watching their recent game against the Atlanta Falcons only underscores their struggles. They barely eked out a win against a weak defense, and their lack of offensive production is glaring. It's hard to see them as a serious threat to our playoff hopes when they're so one-dimensional and injury-plagued. What does all of this mean for the Broncos? It means we're not just in the playoff hunt, we're a team no one wants to face. With 5 games left, including winnable matchups and key opportunities to outmaneuver our competition, this is a team built to make noise in the postseason. The combination of strategic scheduling, strong player performances, and outstanding coaching has set the stage for a thrilling December. What do you think, Broncos country? Can this team not only make the playoffs, but also make a deep run? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for the second part of this breakdown, where we'll dive even deeper into what makes this team so dangerous heading into the final stretch. Don't miss it!